Morning, everyone. My name is Baptiste Bouvier, founder and CEO of DiploAI. I'm here today to tell you about what we do, which in a nutshell is to take a product that you are building and to identify and track every single regulation, law, and standard that applies to that product. So you can imagine this is a task that takes hours, weeks, months to do, and it's error-prone and so forth. We're very, very proud across the last 3 years to be supporting some of the largest manufacturers in the world that trust us to be embedded in their product development process. So you see some of those that are listed on this slide here. We have a few case studies towards the end as well. In a nutshell, I'm sure this is probably not a huge surprise, but regulations are going out of control. There are objectively more regulations published every single day across many more jurisdictions, a fragmentation, lack of harmonization across countries, and then of course you have all the software horizontal regulations, things like PFAS, materials, data privacy, AI, cybersecurity, recycling, EPR, all those topics that are coming out that honestly didn't exist before. So what this does is it really slows down development time and leads to risk for business launch. Of course, what happens is you have really, really bad visibility in terms of what is tracking. Potentially you are operating in over 100 countries around the world, and you need to know for every single country what are all the requirements you have to follow. You want to know as soon as they change, so that if you're building something, which honestly may take 5 years, let's say, you need to know as soon as something changes so that you don't come to launch, realize you're not compliant in China, for example, and then not able to launch as well. Now, in a nutshell, the system does 3 things. The first part is tracking, right? So pretty simply, the system will look at every single update that happens around the world. So to give you a sense of scale, there are 4,000 regulatory and legal updates every day just in the United States alone at the federal and state level. And that's really any regulation, any law, any meeting, any press release, any speech, any hint of a regulation that might come up. The fact is, for any of you, out of those 4,000, probably 99.9% don't apply to you. But the fact is 0.01% do. And the question is, how do you get the guarantee that you are finding every single requirement for your product without having to look at those thousands that apply? And so the tracking says we're going to look at maybe like 20,000 updates around the entire world, find the 10 things that apply to the company, and that's where the second part comes in. So then engineers and R&D folks are using the platform to say, great, we found these 10 things that potentially affect our product today. The real question is, what do you do as a result? What is the impact? Is it a design change, which is maybe the worst case? Is it a compliance change? Is it a reporting change? What do you have to do? Again, we may have found these 10 things for you, which is great, but each of those 10 things could be 200 pages long. And again, this is where engineering and R&D teams are reading one by one to figure out the requirements. So really, this is where AI can support and jump in for you. And finally, the distribute is about getting that information out to the engineering and R&D teams, right? So imagine you've tracked something, you found some change that's really critical to some system that you're building. You've done the analysis, you know what to do. Now that the most important thing arguably is to get the word out and tell people about it and give the engineers the tools to understand exactly what they have to follow, what are the nuances, what are the gray areas, etc. Give you a bit of a case study. We are live with one of the largest OEMs around the world, more than 100 billion in revenue, and they trust us to work with them from the initial product development phase all the way through to launch. The way that they evaluate it, which is honestly the way that happens most times, is you do a bit of an A/B test. And from their perspective, the first thing that mattered was efficiency. So how long do they spend today manually going to websites, finding those thousands and thousands every single day across many teams decentralized around the world, and finding all the government updates every single day. So they were reporting spending around 480 minutes or hours and hours essentially every single day. And with the system, they find 10 minutes to look at those relevant alerts. At the end of the day, this is not that surprising. Humans are not built to look at thousands and thousands of things, as this is where AI can jump in as well. So obviously it's huge, huge time saving, which is where a lot of the business case was built. But arguably more important is what are the net new requirements that they found that they would not have found otherwise. So this was a 3-month POC, side by side. They had their regulatory teams, by the way, there are around 50 people that are doing this full time, finding everything across all the countries, and yet around 30% of what the system recommended, they had reported to have not found and were critical. Of course, these are not your standard regulations. These are all the newer ones around data privacy, AI, especially in different parts of the world, and globally too. And so as you can see, there's lots and lots of different ones. The key ones that I've talked about are around robust tracking. What does it mean for you to not miss a single requirement? The efficiency you can have and minimizing all those redevelopments as well. So very happy we have a booth in the other room. Very happy to talk again, and thank you all very much for your time.